Lugano is a city in southern Switzerland, in the Italian-speaking canton of Ticino, which borders Italy. The population of the city proper was 71,500, and the population of the urban agglomeration was over 145,000. It is the ninth largest city of Switzerland by population, the largest city in Ticino, and the largest city with an Italian-speaking majority outside of Italy. The city lies on Lake Lugano, surrounded by the mountains of the Lugano Prealps. Its warm summers and the fact that in recent years it has attracted an ever-growing number of celebrities, entertainers, and successful athletes have given it the nickname of the Monte Carlo of Switzerland. Name and coat of arms. The toponym is first recorded in 804, in the form Luanesco, in 874 as Luano, and from 1189 as Lugano. German-language variants of the name were Loewens, Loisch, Lauwis. The etymology of the name is uncertain. Suggestions include derivation from Lucus, grove, from a Vulgar Latin lac vannis, lake dweller, and from the god Lagus. The blazon of the municipal coat of arms is gules, a cross throughout argent, between the uppercase serif letters L, V, G, and A. The coat of arms dates from around 1200. The four letters on the coat of arms are an abbreviation of the name Lugano. History. Prehistory. The shores of Lake Lugano have been inhabited since the Stone Age. Within the modern city limits a number of ground stones or quern stones have been found. In the area surrounding Lugano, items from the Copper Age and the Iron Age have been found. There are Etruscan monuments at Davisco Soragna, Pregassina, and Viganello. Graves with jewelry and household items have been found in Oldesago, Davisco, Patisciolo and Pregassina, along with Celtic money in Viganello. The region around Lake Lugano was settled by the Romans by the 1st century BC. There was an important Roman city north of Lugano at Bioggio. There are fewer traces of the Romans in Lugano, but several inscriptions, graves and coins indicate that some Romans lived in what would become Lugano. Foundation of Lugano. The first written mention of a settlement at Lugano can be found in documents, which are of disputed authenticity, with which the Longobard king, Liutprand, ceded various assets located in Lugano to the Church of St. Carpophorus in Como in 724. Other documents, dating from 804 and 844, refer to Lake Lugano as Laco Luanesco, and an act of 984 indicates Lugano as a market town. During the fighting between Guelphs and Ghibellines and the new disputes between Como and Milan, during the 14th and 15th centuries, Lugano was the scene of clashes between opposing forces. After a long rule by the Rusca family, Lugano was freed from the domination of Como, which had been taken over in 1335 by the Visconti. At the same time, the link between town and the valley strengthened. By 1405–06 documents attest to a Vallis Communitas Luganii, which was a governing body that was independent of Como. The new community included the parishes of Lugano, Agno, River San Vitale and Capriasca. In 1416 the Duke of Milan, Filippo Maria Visconti, conquered the region of Lugano and the Rusca Valley and made it a fief. A year later, Lugano's freedoms were first documented in a series of statutes modeled on those of Como. The town was able to secure complete independence. Lugano during the Renaissance and Enlightenment. Between 1433 and 1438, the Duke of Milan, Aloisio Sanseverino, sat as a feudal lord over Lugano. He compensated the Rusca family with the ownership of Locarno. Under the reign of his heirs in the following decades, rebellions and riots broke out, which lasted until the French invasion of 1499. It was the object of continuous disputes between the Dukes of Como and Milan until it became a Swiss dominion in 1513. Swiss control lasted until 1798, when Napoleon conquered the old Swiss Confederation and created the Helvetic Republic. In 1746, the Agnelli brothers opened the first printing press and bookshop in Lugano. They began publishing the newspaper Nuovo di Diverse Quarta Epasi in 1748 and changed its name to Gazzetta di Lugano in 1797. The newspaper was widely read in north and central Italy. It supported the cause of the later Jansenists against the Jesuits and was therefore banned in 1768 in the territory of the Papal States. It was open to the themes of enlightened reform in the American Revolutionary War. It was the first newspaper in the Italian language to publish an excerpt from the Declaration of Independence of 1776. After the death of Abbot Giambattista Agnelli in 1788, who had been the editor for more than 40 years, Abbot Giuseppe Lodovico Maria Vanelli took over the paper. Under Abbot Vanelli, it supported the revolutionary ideas from France, which drew protests from the Austrian government in Lombardy. The publication of the magazine ceased abruptly after edition number 17 of 29 April 1799. Following the anti-French riots in Lugano, during which the Agnelli printing house was sacked and Abbot Vanelli was shot, under the Helvetic Republic, Lugano became the center of the Canton of Lugano. Canton of Lugano. The Canton of Lugano unified the former Landvotian of Lugano, Mendrisio, Lucano and Valmaggia. However, as with the other cantons of the Helvetic Republic, the autonomy of Lugano was very limited. The Republic having been founded by Napoleon in order further to centralize power in Switzerland, the canton was led by a directory of 5 members, who appointed a national prefect. The canton was deeply divided between patriots, supporting the Cisalpine Republic, and traditionalist aristocrats. By 1799 riots broke out in Lugano, and the second prefect, Francesco Capra, fled the city. Power passed to a provisional government sympathetic to the Habsburgs. However, French occupation was restored in 1800. Discontent continued, and in early 1802 a revolt in Capriasca led to the Autumn Pronunciamento of Pian Povero, which declared the independence of Lugano from the Helvetic Client Republic. With the Act of Mediation, the following year, political agitation was finally quelled, as were the struggles between Unionists and Federalists. The Canton of Lugano merged with Bellinzona, creating the Canton of Ticino, which endures to the present day. 19th century. After 1803, the political municipality of Lugano was created. One of the first tasks of the new city government was to determine the division of property and authority between the patriciato and the new political municipality. 2 agreements between the two organizations, in 1804 and 1810, began this process. In the second half of the 19th century, the political municipality received various properties and rights from the patriciato. Francesco Capra, the prefect during the Helvetic Republic, became the first mayor of Lugano from 1803 until 1813. The cantonal constitution of 1814 set Lugano, Bellinzona and Lucano as capitals of the canton. They each served as the capital in a 6-year rotation. Lugano was the capital in 1827–33, 1845–51 and 1863–69. In the 19th century, the city government was dominated by the Liberal Party. In 1900, slightly more than half of the seats on the city council were held by liberals. Most of the rest of the seats were held by either conservatives or socialists. The city government initially had 11 members, but in 1908 their number was reduced to 5 and in 2004 increased to 7. Throughout most of the 20th century, the Liberals held the absolute majority here as well. The rest of the municipal executive posts were held by the Conservatives, the Socialists and the Ticino League. Around 1830 new civic and government buildings began to emerge in Lugano. The city also began to expand into the surrounding hills, along the Caserate, and toward Molino Nuovo, Paradiso and Castagnola. In 1843–44 the town hall was built on the site of the bishop's palace. It housed the cantonal government in 1845–51 and again in 1863–69. Since 1890, it has housed the city government. The promenade was built in stages. First part was in the 1870s, a second in the first decade of the 20th century. In the first decades of the 19th century, the roads that connect Lugano with Bellinzona, Pontresca and Chiasso were built. In 1848, the first steamboat on Lake Lugano began to operate, with regular, scheduled service since 1856. The construction of the Melide Causeway between Melide and Bissen in 1844–47 favored the development of the Chiasso-Bellinzona-Lugano-Gotthard line, at the expense of the north-south route along Lake Maggiore. This tendency for development was strengthened further in 1882 with the completion of the Gotthard railway line. The railway station was built in 1874–77 in Lugano, and transformed it into one of the main links between northern Italy and Central and Northern Europe, which led to the development of tourism and in general helped the services sector. Modern Lugano. From the mid-19th century to 1970, the city recorded constant population growth, especially between 1880 and 1910, when the population more than doubled. This increase was partly due to foreign nationals settling in Lugano and people from other language areas of Switzerland. In the last 3 decades of the 20th century, the population fell slightly, despite the merger in 1972, of the municipalities of Castagnola and Bruoldasago. This reflected a trend to move away from the city to the suburban communities. However, in 2004 the municipalities of Braganzona, Cureggio, Davisco Soragna, Gandria, Pambione Oranco, Pazzolo, Pregassina and Viganello were incorporated into the city. In 2008, they were followed by Barbengo, Carabia and Villa Luganese. This, among other factors, resulted in a doubling of the population to 52,059 in 2006, of which over a third were foreigners. In 2013, the municipalities of Bogna, Cadra, Corona, Satara, Cimadera, Samvico and Valcolla were incorporated into the city. Following the Second World War, and particularly during the 1960s and 70s, thanks to an abundant flow of capital from nearby Italy, Lugano was the first host city of Eurovision Song Contest. Lugano experienced a period of exponential growth in banking activities which led to it placing itself as the third financial center of Switzerland, with over 100 banking institutions present in the town. Trade, tourism and finance are the mainstays of the local economy. In 2000, 9/10 of the workers were employed in the services sector, of which 3/4 are commuters, including many cross-border commuters. In 1975, the Congress Center was built, followed in 1978 by the new city hospital. In 1963 the city acquired the land for the airfield Lugano-Agno, and the first scheduled flights was in 1980. At the beginning of the 21st century they began the Grande Lugano projects, including the car tunnel Videggio Cassarate, which started in 2005 and connects the A2 motorway with the neighborhood of Corneda. The creation of a new cultural on the site of the former Grand Hotel Palace and a convention and exhibition center in the area of Campo Marzio. In June 2011, officials of the Israeli city of Yehud announced they would undertake a massive construction project to replicate Lugano's old square in the center of their city, to reinvigorate commerce and tourism. The replica will be replete with neoclassical columns and colonnades. Geography. Lugano lies at the edge of Lake Lugano, which is situated between the lakes Lago Maggiore and Lago di Como, south of the Alps. It lies at the heart of the Sotto Cerneri, that part of the canton of Ticino that lies south of the Monte Cerneri Pass. The city center is located on the lake shore just to the west of where the river Cassarate enters the lake. The city's waterfront forms a crescent around the bay between the Brie and the San Salvatore Mountains. because of the historical development of the city, incorporating some relatively distant suburbs but leaving other, nearer, suburbs as independent municipalities. The borders of the city are disparate. A large and sparsely populated section of the city is on the east bank of Lake Lugano and separated from the city by that lake. Similarly, the inner urban but independent municipality of Paradiso is a near enclave, totally surrounded as it is by the city and the Lake of Lugano. Based on the 1997 land survey, as of 2013 update, Lugano has a total area of 32.09 square kilometers. Of this area, 3.25 square kilometers or 10.1% is used for agricultural purposes, while 6.73 square kilometers or 21.0% is forested. Of the rest of the land, 4.48 square kilometers or 14.0% is settled, 0.04 square kilometers or 0.1% is either rivers or lakes, and 0.12 square kilometers or 0.4% is unproductive land. Of the built-up area, housing and buildings made up 9.4% and transportation infrastructure made up 3.0%. While parks, green belts and sports fields made up 1.2%. Out of the forested land, all of the forested land area is covered with heavy forests. Of the agricultural land, 0.5% is used for growing crops and 9.4% is used for alpine pastures. All the water in the municipality is in lakes. Climate: Lugano has a humid subtropical climate characterized by relatively mild winters, warm, damp summers and plentiful precipitation year-round. Although winter is somewhat drier than the rest of the year, it has an average of 98.1 days of rain or snow per year and on average receives 1,559 millimeters of precipitation. The wettest month is May, during which Lugano receives an average of 196 millimeters of rain, while the driest month of the year is February with an average of 52 millimeters of precipitation over 4.6 days.